We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another edition of Talking Shit Tuesday, Gman Experience. Actually, we're not really going to talk about Gman that much. Your regular gas bag has decided to take a week off, and I'm quite happy to host things for you. Topics we have today. You're going to have to hold on to your seat. This is going to be exciting because apparently
Hello,
Nate
everyone.
Cunningham.
Welcome to yet another edition of
Did I just do that?
Tuesday.
Schoolboy error.
Do you not just like hate the sound of your own voice? I sound like this nasally little sissy. That's terrible. Anyway, so topics this week are Nate Cunningham had done something so shocking that I don't even know what it is and still not have mustered the ability to care. Trey Jadlow has some opinions about things and stuff. I had a talk with the guy. I thought he was a nice enough fellow. But for some reason this weekend, people started getting kind of irate. He might be a bigot. We'll try to figure out what possible misunderstanding happened there. Gman takes a special, charming, interactive, soul-to-soul, I want to get to know what you're like as a person, way of interacting with people onto the streets of New York City, the place for that sort of conversation. And perennial idiot HogTie Champ is a naive, childlike moron who thinks it is possible to have a polite conversation with Matt Slick. So I have also opened the floor for other people who want to make some sort of nominations for other topics. The crowd sort of seemed enthused to deal with those. So what have we got first? What was the Nate Cunningham thing that got people so charged up about?
Nate basically made a video saying, he appeared to be sat in a bar when he was making it. He made this video claiming that if you look at atheists speaking about non-religious things, and then you look at a hangout of the Christians speaking about non-religious things, you'll be able to tell just from watching that the Christians are actually far more moral.
Right.
I'm guessing it's just because, you know, the atheists, as soon as they start talking about anything, will immediately go to baby eating, book burning, and other such things that are seen as immoral. So, yeah, that was it. And then that caused a lot of blowback, to put it mildly, which is still kind of going on. There was quite a lengthy show with the Saints and Sinners, as was Lasoyo's thing, had Nate on. And Nate got his clock cleaned by Aussie as well. So, yeah, it's been a...
Well, of course, I had spoken with Ozzy for some time after our show Sunday, and you know, he kind of mentioned, oh yeah, well, this sort of went on, but I didn't really get much for details of it. Did Nate clarify, like, well, when he says Christians and when he says atheists, was he talking about subgroups, or did it just not come out right? Like, what happened?
It seemed to come down to that if you compare immoral atheists with moral Christians, because he's not talking about them all, remember. But if you compare the immoral atheist to the moral Christian, you can see that the immoral atheist is more immoral than the moral Christian.
Yeah, and a sort of the, well, if you know, it's all right them going on about G-Man being immoral and defending slavery. You should go into their hangouts when they're not talking about religion and they swear and talk about sex and stuff like that.
It keeps getting very convoluted.
Yes.
Yeah, apparently,
I
just want to say, apparently atheists like to talk about which women they've tricked into having sex.
Yeah, apparently. If you actually watch, there's a hangout, I think it was in J-Dub's channel, it's nearly 8 hours, and it was a birthday one for Gman. And Rose was in there, effing and blinding.
I've got to see that.
Who's Rose?
Yeah.
Pattern.
Well, yeah. Well, my thing about that was you know, I've seen Nate in some of Nadia's hangouts when Christian Hillbilly's been in there, saying horrible, bigoted, nasty, evil, immoral stuff, and Nate's not said a word.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's why I didn't get about it.
The only reason I honed in on swearing there is because you can't really argue. You know, you can get the argument, oh, that's immoral, that's not immoral. But he did actually pick up on swearing, and that's why the hangout for G-Man's birthday sprang to mind, because there was a lot of swearing coming in that hangout, and that was supposed to be a bunch of Christians all in a hangout not talking about Christianity.
You know, what was that old verse? You shall know them by their fruits.
He does claim that the swearing was the least of his issues, and he doesn't have that much of a problem with swearing. But I thought it was interesting on the Saints and Sinners, and I haven't finished watching that yet, where James, isn't it? I don't know, whatever his name, Lasoya, sorry, played the video that Nate was actually in, where it was Rand Campbell.
Oh yeah, that was brilliant.
And Rand Campbell was saying very bigoted things.
Yeah,
I think there was one point where Lasoya said, "Oh look, you're smiling there," and I thought, actually, it looks like one of those nervous smiles to me. You know, that sort of, I don't know what to say now.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm the look that says I'm scared of Ram.
Yeah.
What do I do for my brothers in Christ? They're being naughty, but I mustn't say anything because they're my brothers in
If
Christ.
memory serves, that was the one where it was that where JD was just JD was trying to demonstrate that it was a red-blooded straight male because he's got loads and loads of Eastern European glamour photography on the desktop of his PC, and Ram was basically thinking desktop was a euphemism for his penis.
Oh, that was painful. That.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to know about that gearbox.
Yeah, he's going, why are you coming on to me? Why are you coming on to me, you faggot?
It was very...
Yeah.
And I mean, I will be I probably won't be the first to admit it. I'm sure many people have admitted this before me. I quite often don't say things when perhaps I might look like a hypocrite because sometimes people have behaved in a certain way, and I've sat there and said nothing. I don't deny that has happened on many an occasion in my life, both on the internet and real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't make
I'm
content. So that's the difference.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are sometimes you're just not up for a fight.
Well, there's that as well. Yeah.
That is.
Not today, though. Sorry.
But the thing is,
that wasn't me. I don't know who did that.
Has anyone sworn yet?
Did you ever drill down on what it was that it was saying was immoral if it wasn't the swearing? Or did he just flim-flam his way again?
This is partly what confused me, was because I had seen some comments go by about the nature of vulgarity or the nature of lewdness, and of course I had, in one of the threads, I tossed an observation I make all the time about what's really lewd, like what's really offensive. It's not the choice of words, right? Like, I said before, you can call somebody, my kids are in the room, so I can't use my normal TST language, but there's all sorts of vulgar names you can call somebody, even jocular, just being friendly. But when you tell lies about somebody, even if you don't use that kind of language for it, I mean, I consider that far more lewd and immoral. So I just never really got other than the language choice. Like, are they really that wrapped up, for those radicals, like, are they really that wrapped up in the language that when somebody swears, they say, there's proof. If you're ever wondering about whether or not a non-believer is immoral, there's your proof right there, because that guy just used the F word.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dee.
I could be mistaken, but I think what Nate's saying is it isn't that people. I don't really know what he's saying, to be honest, do I?
Well, he did actually say the words. He did actually say the words. If you want proof, go and watch it. That was the title of his hangout. Go and watch.
I think his implication is that if I don't really know.
He said, "Go and watch them where they're not talking about religion, and when the Christians are not talking about religion, we talk about blankets and kittens and children's laughter." And when we talk about not talking about religion, we talk about sexual positions and eating small children.
Yeah. I mean, what I took from that is like partially when we have conversations, like I don't think secular people are as puritanical and repressed about sex. I mean, like or like we're willing to talk about how we like. What we like to drink or whether or not we partake in certain drugs. But, okay, some of that can seem, I understand if it seems immoral to him because, he's probably brought up in a puritanical environment. But, those are, a lot of those to us are just things that don't have moral dimension to them. Like,
whereas they'll talk about the Bible, that lovely book about, rape, genocide, slavery, murder.
Yeah, exactly. Who I want to sleep, like I don't view like if we were to talk about like let's hypothetically what type of girl I like to date, right?
Or what type of porn you like to search.
Or what type of
that's a
porn I
different
like to
issue.
watch.
Anita Queen.
But, you know, with some exceptions, that's a completely morally neutral question. But it's like, ew, icky. He's talking about his privates, you know.
Is there such a thing as Christian porn?
Apparently. I am aware of the concept. I have not viewed it.
Well,
honestly.
someone's told you mean?
We once did a thing about it on Fundamentally Flawed a long time ago.
That way, maybe we have heard it.
Yeah, there's a
I have
brief
some
bit
vague memory of there being some Christian porn site that sells Christian.
Apparently, it only contains husband and wives.
Yeah.
It might have been on your show that I heard it.
Well, where's the fun in that?
Married.
Right. You couldn't have a Christian orgy then, because that would be more than one
Alex,
man and one woman.
does it always end with the production of a child?
It does always end up. You actually have to. It's very long. You have to watch the full 9 months of the pregnancy just to prove that a child has been born at the end. Otherwise, that we can't be sure, can we? And that would be sinful.
No. I've said it before. Christian porn, evangelicals, Christian porn anyway, is just all persecution fantasies. It's like the fetish guys who like to have a woman in high heels like stand in their scrotum with the stiletto heels. Like that's what Christians are like. It's like, oh, did you hear about that baker that had to pay a fine for being a Christian?
It's like sadomasochism.
Would they have to say sort of afterwards, hast thou comest?
Yeah. So we do have other people. I've got 3 requests to join the Hangout. This happens on JD's thing all the time. It always fills up. One of the 3 people who's asked for a link, has been trying to click on the link to get in, is Helena Handbasket. I know that sometime during the day today I saw a video go up where Nate had claimed an epiphany related to something very helpful that Helena Handbasket has said. She says many helpful things. I started listening to Nate's thing, and there was about an 11-minute preamble. So I never did find out what Helena had said that was so useful. Does anyone have a read on that? Do you know what Helena said that was insightful?
Well, no. The reason is because Nate was explaining it, and when Nate explains anything, you don't get anything from it.
Yeah.
That's cruel but true.
I find I need to take a week off life.
If
and go
Helena
live in
had
a
been explaining it, we might have been a bit the wiser.
Yeah.
Well, so how do we underline this? What was the point? So it was basically atheists bad because they use bad language, but was it about the events we talk about? Because we can.
Yeah, it was
I just don't feel like
I took that it was a sort of an answer to all these atheists that's saying how immoral Gman is because of the Matt Dillahunty thing and about slavery. So but if Gman's if slavery's bad, what about all these, atheists over here? Just go and watch them. They're just as bad, or if not worse, pretty much.
All these atheists who agree with abortions and such like, they agree with abortions, but they moan about slavery. They're just as the atheists are immoral.
But his issue was he was trying to compare bad atheists to good theists.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to get...
Not at the time, he
Not
wasn't.
at the time, no. He was just saying, if you think this lot are bad, we're bad, or some of us are bad, in other words.
No, that is what, like, at the beginning, that's actually what he was comparing. Like, I guess maybe it was an off-air thing with Ozzy that he had talked about it, but...
No, we're on about the original video. There was no qualification made.
No, yeah, he flip-flopped, right? When he did the Losoyo's video, he flip-flopped on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in the Hangout...
Helena needs to get quicker on the button.
Yeah, and Ozzy was trying to get into it as well.
Oh, Ozzy was going to come in. He sent me a message, but he never... what I hear is he's too much of a chicken to come into the conversation.
Well, he's nobody's bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, that was...
Oh,
Yeah.
that has been the best
yeah,
line in any hangout I have heard in a long time. Ozzy saying, "I'm nobody's bitch."
I would like to point out that I am fairly sure Nate is not saying all Christians are good and all atheists are bad.
Right.
That much I am sure.
I
he wasn't
think he said it all. I just think he said...
He said generally.
No, I know. Just,
He said generally atheists.
No.
Blah, blah, blah. A big part.
He did actually... He qualified it later on. And that is when he basically said, no, what I'm meaning is this. if you compare immoral atheists to moral Christians, the immoral atheists are more immoral than the moral Christians.
Yeah.
And that just seemed to me as an exercise in complete futility.
Yeah. And it made his first video not make sense anymore, if that's what he meant.
It was just changing shovels, the
exactly.
second video, and then the third video, and the fourth video, and the 2 hangouts as well.
Okay, well then, this is the problem. This is the problem you're all having. Then, is that I was not interested in this topic before we started talking about it. I was mildly interested because I thought you could explain it to me. I'm rapidly losing interest in it because if I heard along the way there you said something about, well, it was connected to the whole, slavery is immoral, the Bible's immoral, that sort of thing. Then I just don't care. Like the thing is, when atheists are pointing out that that the Bible isn't a great moral guide, right? The Bible is a great historical record of some of the nature, not necessarily historical events.
It's written by God.
But it's sure it is. It's canon of describing what the social environment was like, right? They don't talk about the iPhone in the Bible, right? They talk about the sort of the culture of the time, and they had slavery at the time, and none of us should be at least pitching the idea that somehow God is immoral because God endorsed slavery. That's not my view, and anybody who says that, I just don't. How does that help?
Veckel uses it for that.
And here's the other thing: is if they want to say, oh well, gee, you guys, how can you guys call God immoral because you use potty mouth? Or you have group sex. Maybe we have group sex, right? You don't know.
I did point out.
I'm not the creator of the universe. I'm not holding myself to that standard.
Yeah, I did point out to him as well in the Hangout today that sometimes the point atheists are making is not that they're so moral. It's just that the way someone's put forth their God makes their God look immoral. It's not that they're claiming to be more moral. The point is that this God being put forth really doesn't sound very moral, given what he's supposed to have done.
No, he's a prick.
The only issue I have is calling God immoral is that I don't believe in that thing that I'm calling immoral. So I have a hard time having that conversation.
HogTie's favourite Veckel did make a good comment earlier in the week. I think it was in Nadia's Hangout where he said, someone said to him, "How old is the Earth?" And Veckel said, "I don't know. I looked for it in the Bible and it's not there."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it's not relevant.
Yeah, and I do. Well, that's sarcasm. I do like Veckel. I do think lately he's sort of starting to show the wear of the downhill slide that you see apologists have on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I think it's very much correlated with the number of hours of videos and hangouts you do. Yeah. I don't necessarily want to draw the comparisons to the others. I've made this observation in comments before. There's some people who do a lot of hours of hangouts over the last couple of years, and it is not good for them. You see the real darkness come out. But no, I'm serious. I officially declare I've lost interest in that topic.
Warning, bad comment. Bad comment coming up.
Let's give Heavy Holler last word on it. But
I was just going to throw a little nonsense in. Talk about the group sex. I have group sex all the time. I use both hands.
HogTie, there is one postscript.
Thanks for sharing.
There is a postscript.
You use both hands by necessity?
The Nate thing.
Okay, Wayne on the Nate thing, and then we're going to move on.
And that is, right, one of the things that cropped up in Lasoyo's show is that Nate, apparently moderate Christian, believes in literal Noah's Ark narrative. Literal. 100% literal. 8 people, global flood, or water in a lot of places. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
100% literal.
Don't know what they can do with that. That always drives me a little loony, as you know. But can we press on to Mr. Jadlow, who I got to say, I like the guy. I talked to him. I thought it was fine. We never really got to scratch the surface. People might remember he and I had some scheduling difficulties, time zone confusion, and then he had to go do something with his kids. I respect that. So we had a fairly cordial chat, and then he went and did this thing, and I hosted a hangout on other matters.
Yeah.
Mr. Alex Botten has the skill of bringing out the worst in people, I find. And they talk for 5 minutes of what I thought was, oh, it's interesting enough, I'll download it and put it on my phone, and then I never watched it, so I don't know. And then the next thing, an hour later, I got these crazy comments on the feed. The word bigot featured prominently. I myself don't make that accusation, haven't seen the thing, but WTF happened. You want to start with Alex, or? No, we don't.
Yeah, please, because interactions with him and I have been great, with Trey and I. And me and him have had the discussions before he had to go get his kids after work, kind of thing. So I think they've all been off air, but I missed the one with Alex. I saw yours, HogTie, but
He was, decent. He's kind of a gas bag when it comes to making up crazy jargon on philosophy courses he'd never taken. But he's not. I didn't get him to be. Well, okay. What's the bigot thing? Somebody just laid out there. What am I missing?
Is this the thing with Trey? Because I was away for a few moments then. Trey has likened, and I don't know if he did it just by being careless with his way of describing, but he likened homosexuality to being a thief, a paedophile. Said that Christians were being persecuted in North America, then couldn't really provide any concrete examples that held up. Every single one of them, well, the only one he came up with was the Sweet Cakes by Melissa, or whatever it's called. It came down to the fact that she'd just broken the law, and it was entirely self-caused, and that was the whole point. Was I was trying to point out that any examples were self-inflicted.
He also said it was a sign of a broken life or something.
Yeah, he said it's a sign of somebody's got a broken life or broken mind.
Homosexuality is a sign of.
He also demonstrated an appalling knowledge of British history and while claiming to know a lot about it.
Yes, and said that Scandinavian countries like Sweden had a bigger financial problem than the States do, when it's in fact not true. What else did he say? He said that clearly I wasn't aware of the facts about Queen Mary and the reason why the Pilgrims had left the UK, and it was pointed out by somebody else who's got a better understanding of history than I do, or better remembrance of it than I do, that had happened 60 years prior to the Pilgrims leaving, and she'd only reigned 15 years, 60 years before. So he got an awful lot of things wrong. It was a bit of a mess, really.
Yeah, he thought that the Puritans were all into fluffy kittens and that they were persecuted, and that's why they left.
Yeah, he didn't get that they wanted to left, but they persecuted enough.
The same Puritans that were killing Quakers?
Yeah, they persecuted the Quakers and people they thought were witches.
All over breakfast cereal. It's terrible.
Those weren't real Christians.
They went to a brave new world where they could be free to persecute, because they didn't like that the stumbling into liberalism that Britain was already going through at the time. The very beginnings of an enlightened society was getting in the way of their persecutions.
I've heard Trey bring that point up that you were saying, that they came here to to get away from persecution.
He was as wrong as he could possibly be, basically.
No.
It was a mess. It was surprising because previously Trey, I mean, he's Johnny Word salad, isn't he? But previously, at least he struck me as being not a complete Bible-blinded bigot.
Right. Well, here I put it on the side. The day before, what's his name? Skylar's hangout with him. He repeated almost the same things in mine, but it was slavery is okay as long as it comes from a place of love.
Homosexuality can come from a place of love, so by his own logic, homosexuality is okay.
He repeats it on Skylar's, so Skylar's was recorded. Mine's recorded, but it's not shared. It's not thingy, but it's on air, him saying that.
The thing I've just remembered is that I asked him straight out that if the Bible said that hating blacks was right, would he be a racist? And he said no, because he'd checked the Bible and he wouldn't think that was the word of God. And I was like saying, well, for a long time the Bible was used as justification for racism, and
still
now
is.
It is.
Watch the Skylar part. He gives a few verses. He did with me as well, of where God put in place slavery, and the people that enslaved them out of love, because God enslaved them out of love, and that they loved being slaves. That made it okay.
And we should also remember too, as much as people are talking to Gman or any of these guys who talk about slavery, just to touch on the slavery thing, when you guys are talking about the slavery, and these guys, especially Gman, really wants to go off on, there's different types of slavery. There's this type, and there's that type, and there's all these different types of happy slavery. He needs to remember and needs to be reminded that the particular type of slavery, the particular character of slavery he endorses is race-based slavery.
All right.
That's G-Man's preferred slavery.
But he doesn't know the difference between literal and figurative, so we have to first discern one from the other before we even get on to the different types of chattel and child trafficking and all that.
The other issue is that he says morality is objective and I never remember the opposite of
Universal,
relative.
is it?
Absolute. Absolute and relative.
Absolute, yeah. But
Objective.
surely if slavery in the Bible's okay, but transatlantic slavery is not okay, that is relative, not objective. Not.
Yes, he doesn't understand. As an
I love-
interesting aside here,
Absolute.
one of the other things that struck me when Gman had his discussion about slavery with Matt Dillahunty was something that was said that was actually not on the topic, and it was that Gman says that the penalty for adultery should be death.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it Tracy asking?
That
if it was
blew my
okay,
mind. Yeah.
Yeah, she actually strangely overshadowed his answer by highlighting it when she said the great line about you're a walking billboard for atheism. Can we hold on to this for a second? G-Man's going to be our next topic. I really want to quickly, so I want to start with that observation about what he said about the death penalty. I do want to say something about, I did hear some talk, this is going back to Trey Jadlow, and the discussion about pedophilia, homosexuality and whatnot. This is something about 3 years ago I had put up a comment somewhere on some social networking thing where people were discussing about whether or not homosexuality is natural. And I said, this is a ridiculous discussion, whether or not people are naturally gay or whatever else, because we don't decide right and wrong, or moral or immoral, or legal and illegal, based on whether or not it's part of somebody's character. So, for example, there's a pretty effective demonstration that pedophilia is not something you can train into or train out of somebody. Mm-hmm. And I was flooded by comments. It was just like, I can't believe you're saying that gay people are like pedophiles. And I don't know how to answer that, like sort of as a calm, rational observation. Well, they have some things in common. We all have some things. To pick any two groups of people, you're going to find something in common. I'm just saying that just because homosexuality is something that's natural doesn't mean that it's something that we should just say, well, it's okay, right? We should say it's okay for a whole host of other reasons, but there are lots of things that are natural that we say are not permissible in society. And there are lots of things that are totally unnatural. Wearing eyeglasses, riding motorcycles, all these other unnatural things that we do that are permissible under appropriate circumstances.
And is that what you said with pedophile, like pedophile? Because I don't see pedophilia, I don't see it as brain damage, more of a brain aberration or a more like outside of the norm. So
yeah, there are people. I don't know if I like this word choice, but I think it just is. Let's sort of devil's advocate. There are people who will say that pedophilia is another sexual orientation.
Yeah, no.
People are uncomfortable with that phrase, but the thing is, I'm willing to accept it under these conditions, and that is, let's not carry with it that we're all supporters of all sexual orientations.
Right.
Because I am a supporter. I'm a big supporter of one particular sexual orientation, right? And you can guess what that is.
Right.
But I'm also a supporter for other people who are interested in sexual orientations other than mine.
Right.
I'm supportive of them to have the rights to engage in their particular sexual orientation in those cases where that orientation is sexual congress among consenting adults. And there may be some other, not in movie theaters. Well, Disney movies are playing. There's lots of other conditions, right? Not
all pedophiles are molesters, right? So like.
Yeah, they don't act on their. Some of them don't act on.
Yeah, as soon as somebody says, "Well, I have." Yeah.
HogTie, would the orientation that you're in favour of be reverse cowgirl?
Well, let's check the map.
Well, it also depends on the context in which you're speaking, because what we that particular term in our society is rife with negative connotation. But if you look back, I think it was in ancient Greece, the Spartan boys were under a system called pederasty, and then for them that was considered moral. That was considered
the norm.
Of just the norm, and that was actually a part of their training. So,
pedophile just context means love of a child, right? If taken out into that, just the general thing, the literal thing, is love of a child. It's not molester of child, and that's the negative connotation that it does get now.
Well, it's one of those misnomers, but I mean, when people use it, even though it's a misnomer, we do know what they're referring to, even though it's the wrong word.
Yeah, when I think of pedophilia, I think of it as on the same thing as rape. It's a form of control over someone that's defenseless, or they can't defend themselves. And like about the gay and the straight thing, it's like, you know, you have gay, you have straight, and all shades in between. But it's like,
Yeah, that's why Hog said.
there was a comment like where someone was talking about, well, gays choose to be gay, and then I forgot who made the comment. But anyway, I think it was
a number
Wolf.
of people have made that.
Yeah,
comment.
and I think Wolf confronted the guy and said, "Look, did you choose to be straight?" Yeah. You know, it's like it's what you're. It's how it's like how you're born. It's something that happens. The hormones are released at the wrong time. Something gets messed up as you're developing in the womb.
Yeah, it doesn't actually speak on the actions that fall from that. Those actions can be judged separately. That doesn't make a pedophile wrong or gay wrong. It's the actions that they do with it that can be judged as right or wrong. If you use the consent like HogTie said, you're going to go.
Sure.
Going back to what Ray said.
You guys are the ones who are going to get quote mined.
I'll
I'll show you how immoral these guys are.
No, it's HogTie that said these, so please go back a few minutes.
Yeah, endorses everything we say.
I was just adding context. Please don't take what I said and run with it.
Yeah. And you did ask what my orientation was, what my preference was. So let's check the map. By the way, the show is listed as 18 plus.
Yeah, but the thing is, the HogTie, the clue's in the name, isn't it?
Yeah, if they're okay, I see what you're getting at. Next issue. If there are any kids watching, run and go get your parents. Ask them what hentai is. So this was circulated on Google Plus lately. This is the version that appeared on Gizmodo. Pornhub released this thing with the saturation of the color indicating the average number of visits. Average. Why did I say average number sign? What are these idiots?
And kids, don't go ask your parents for a cream pie.
Cream pie.
What is a cream pie? That's what I want to know.
You know what? I want to hold the show to a slightly higher standard than JD Kain. I will put these words on the screen. I'm going to discourage people from giving the definitions. I'm quite happy to have the audience on their own time, on their own web browser, go and look up what cream pie is or
cream pie is basically is the polite version is regular sex.
Oh, well, that's what I have then. I'm married.
Yeah, but I mean, the United States is quite interesting. So we were discussing sort of pre-show here, down in the southeast here. This is isn't this racism capital? Like, isn't Mississippi one of these? Georgia, Mississippi. How does this work?
Yeah, you're right. That's the South.
Yeah, and now the darkness of the color refers to visits duration, from 10 minutes to 12 minutes. It only spans from 10 minutes to 12.
So the South is even spending longer time looking at the way.
Yeah, so is the darker color, is that like something to be proud of? Like if you're in like you can't even stay on. Like,
you've lasted a bit longer.
Well, no, they're just waiting for the plot.
Or it just could be dial-up. They're just waiting a long time.
They have poor internet access down here. Whereas here in the Pacific Northwest.
In southern states there.
You mentioned dial-up. So you're not about wrong.
I'm in a cream pie state. Don't worry.
Yeah, where's Rocket Running State?
I want that on a
dial-up.
You know what I think it is? I think it's that these states down in the south don't realise that you can actually fast forward through a video. And that's why it's like
or it might be because
20 minutes I've got to watch the whole thing, whereas everybody else just goes click, click, click. Oh, there's the action. Excellent. And then
right down in the bottom south, the deep south is that's because they've got to actually ring someone called Miss Doris who patches them through.
Oh my gosh, just listen as well.
Is that Miss Doris in the Telegram office? Can you put me through to Pornhub?
Wait, check this out. You guys have two states that are square. You have two states that are rectangular. This one I think is Utah. What's this one?
What's the one next to?
The one that's below
I'm on the wrong. Sorry, my
smoking.
pointer. Sorry, I forgot my pointer doesn't appear unless I'm on this window.
Yeah.
It's the one right by Nevada.
Okay, this one is square.
Yeah.
Rectangular. Utah, right?
Sorry.
Is that Utah?
That's Nebraska, I believe.
Yeah, Nebraska.
No. Nebraska is cream pie.
Nebraska is a cream pie state. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the one to the left of it? What?
Utah's to the left of cream pie, to the right of
Because Utah has actually amongst the lowest smoking rate.
That's Wyoming.
in the country.
No. Yeah, that's Wyoming.
Utah,
Wyoming.
Why is Nevada cut in half though, like that, with nothing on the other side of it?
Yeah, what's on the other side? They seem to like.
That's Utah.
Why is Nevada so specifically one person? Everywhere else is just, subjects and topics, and then suddenly Nevada's like, Anita Queen.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is. Is that a person? Is it?
She's not the local superstar, is she?
If she lived in Nevada, you know who she was.
She's a porn star from Czech Republic, so I'm told.
Oh.
Okay, well let's all be alarmed. Let's all be alarmed by the top search in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
And then we'll move on. I think
Here.
Entertained ourselves enough with that bit of lewdness.
Texas. I believe there's a couple of Christians in Texas. Just one or two, maybe.
Oh, just a couple.
So HogTie, when was the last time you were hogtied?
Utah and Wyoming.
Ironically, it's a reference to the Bible, strangely, but we'll get into that in another episode. I do get a lot of strange, not a lot, and not even so much anymore, but I used to get some messages, some weird invites for activity. Which is
mainly from Tommy Hall.
That's been bugging me for a while.
All right, what's I may appear evasive here. Oh yeah, I had another screen share I wanted to do, and we're behind schedule on the lying cocksucker of the week, but I do want to screen share. What I'm still on my state by state map here. Where's my other window?
Can I just say, given what Xbox was saying, Trey said before, it regarding that if it's coming from love, it's okay. So obviously he doesn't have a problem with homosexuals in a loving, caring relationship.
I found that odd myself, and there was some discussion lately. I don't remember if it was on one of the Young Turks network shows where they were talking about. Oh, I know what it was. There was a young woman who had come out with. What was it now? She's raised by lesbian parents, and she's now come out to say, like, I'm really opposed to gay marriage. I don't think people should be allowed, same-sex couples should be allowed to get married. And she said, I really love both my parents, but you know, there are studies done that show that if people who don't have, you know, like both their parents or whatever, and what the mistake here, what she's making is she's comparing families that have a male and a female parent versus families that have only one parent. Right, and saying, well, see, those families that don't have both a male and a female parent don't do as well as these other parents. Therefore, same-sex couples shouldn't be allowed to get married because it's bad for the kids. It just baffles me. They say stuff like that because if you're supportive of trusting, loving relationships and having, you know, more than one parent raise kids, which again, I'm supportive of single parents, but I'm a much bigger fan of two adults. Metering their efforts and tag teaming their weight. Yes.
Of loving relationships, like that's clear to say that loving relationships lead to better parenting or
and if there are two dudes who want to do what my wife and I are doing, or two ladies that want to get together and love each other and do what my wife are doing, then like more power to them. How many times?
Yep. Absolutely. I agree with that. I think look at it.
Dad, tell us what cream pie is. Dad, tell us what cream pie is.
They were out of the room. They were out of the room for that part of the discussion. They just came running back down. So, sorry, yes.
And if the two ladies want to sell tickets,
I wonder. Well, no, I'm not gonna. No. Well,
actually,
go ahead. Yeah.
HogTie, before you show the video, look at the link that I just put into the chat, and after you play the video, you can actually screen share that image. I actually caught that in one of their videos.
No. That's not an after. That's a right now. That's got to be done this instant. Let me just reframe that window. I cannot.
That's actually a double take too, because I watched him do it about 5 times. Because he saw him approach. He was kind of hesitant. He looked at him. He looked down. Look back up at him, talk to him, and then look straight down.
There you go. I'm screen sharing it.
You got it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's. Sorry. Let me give. You got Xbox? Where are you? Okay. I'm gonna give Xbox present to everyone, and I'm gonna screen share the other one. Yeah. And my apologies to who's on here, Mr. Audience Member, Dragnut, HogTie Champ, and Rictus. They're public comments, so that's too bad for you. They're getting.
Get over it.
Well, it's frozen now.
Okay. Get along, little doggies.
Oh, you got a video port that goes with it. Stop my screen share.
I love Ken Jones's clothes because they're all these. They'd be classed as outsider art by anybody else. You look at any of his videos where he's wearing these clothes that've got just insane screeds written all over his clothing, and if it's in his house, it's all on his walls and everything. It's not the mark of somebody who comes across as sane to me, but.
I think one of his best videos ever is where he sat on at the top of a children's slide, talking about paedophiles, and right at the end he decides, as an ending, he's going to slide down, but he can't because he sort of kicks off. And doesn't go.
Gman, guess this bit. I'm going to slide down, Gman.
You need to grease them sides up.
Yeah, it's like watching Douglas Bader.
And you can see all the kids in the background, their parents going, don't go near him.
Yeah, I will be, what was I going to say? He and I have been discussing, Mr. Jones and I have been discussing doing a hangout. I have no idea what the topic will be because I've listened to him talk with several other people, and I still don't know what the topic is. So we'll see how that goes. He seems like a nice enough fellow. I know G-Man's quite looking forward to that because he knows Mr. Ken Jones will crush me.
Well, you might share that other one again. HogTie, you might share this one again through yours because someone on the outside said mine was just blank for them.
Oh, really? We saw it nicely in here. Yeah, no, I just got to go stop.
Well, Ken Jones has got a bit of a WWF sort of nickname as well, hasn't he? Because G-Man's been touting him as the most feared theist on YouTube.
Yeah. No, you know what? It's too bad. Just post the link in the outside chat and people can click on it because again we're mindful of JD's breakneck speed. He likes to do these things. So let's do this one in under 3 minutes. Again, just quick thoughts. No sound on this. Yeah, this is. Does anybody know where this is? This is in New York City. I'm not familiar.
Times Square, maybe.
57th Street, I think it is.
Yeah.
Wait, we're not dropping him by saying where he is, are we?
No, he actually points to one of the.
I was joking, darling. I was joking.
I mean, but I know you're joking, but then he'll still get upset by it, even though you can clearly see where he is, and he says it's New York. Just like when he unveiled how to search him using a marathon tracker, and then got upset that people actually used it and used his freaking advice.
Yeah, well, regardless, I mean that's not
anyway,
the point.
I didn't mean to derail.
She was just making a quip there, but and he does announce where this is. He does say which city it is in the title there. But I was interested to see this because I like we sort of only ever see one face of a person here on YouTube, and I know for example Jason Burns is a very different fellow when you see him on the street than his presentation on YouTube. I'll tell you that just the first vibe I got off this is that it seems like G-Man treats people on the street during his street preaching, at least, the same way he treats us in his hangouts.
Yeah.
Just maybe if he didn't look like a homeless guy, he might get somewhere.
Any Dramamine.
Yeah, I was saying maybe if he didn't look like a homeless guy, maybe he'd get more attention.
I think it's just he's just yelling at people, and someone's like, "Who is this crazy fucker on the street yelling at me?" And so they're just trying to find a way to not, probably get stabbed or something, or beat over the head with a Bible. He's in New York, though. People in New York, from what I've seen, ignore you, even if you're talking to them. That's a horrible place to try and preach. I mean, if you're not entertaining someone there, no one's going to stop and listen to you because they have stuff to do. Why do you ever think this? So, supposedly construction is what I heard.
Okay.
The other thing I noticed was that nobody was going to stop and listen to him because he kept just walking up the street. What were people supposed to do?
You can't completely stop.
Yeah, he's walking the other way too. He's walking contra flow, so that he's not engaging people at all.
Yeah, so I mean, what is somebody supposed to do? Stop on their journey to then continue on his journey.
Yeah, that's why you'll get arrested there for protesting. If you're not, you've got to keep moving.
Oh, because it's assembly.
Yeah.
No, I like the video
like that. You only have a brief, 15 seconds or something before someone will start complaining.
No, I like the video he just put up today with the guy with the clown wig and said, "Checkmate, atheists."
Oh no.
Yeah, he's like, atheists. Like, we have proof that an atheist is a religion, and it's a dude with a clown wig who says, need money for weed. I comment that says, I can't take this guy seriously more than you seriously at this point.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Oh, that was epic.
Let me ask you, did we, we're going to press on to the next topic because it's just no point in. Hey, did we talk about, no, not, I'm apologizing to, on my own behalf, not soliciting one from you. Did we talk about last week about Gman's proof about the Supreme Court finding? Did that come up on Talking Shit Tuesday last week?
I didn't hear it.
Oh, really, you guys? Okay, well, I want to do it in one sentence, and again, we're gonna press on. We got our whatchamacallit, our Cocksucker of the week to happen yet. I had asked G-Man I'm just waiting for this moment where he goes down the slide. Does that happen?
The last 10 seconds.
Oh, I thought it was at the end of it. I didn't realize I wasn't scrolled over.
Yeah, it's 28:49, something like that.
Okay,
Gosh,
well,
show us what a fart noise there.
Time code, please. Time equals
28 minutes 49.
God, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. That's why the chicks
No
think
idea.
Here we go.
That is one wide slide. I've never
That
seen
is
a slide that wide.
They have them here because like 4 kids go down at once.
Gold.
Just for Americans.
Yeah.
Oh, 4 kids. I thought you said poor kids.
Yeah, for the poor kids.
G-Man. Did you get me a video, G-Man? I did it.
Hey,
Okay, at the risk of
I'll cry.
At the risk of coming across as a self-promoting douchebag, when I'm merely a self-promoting douchebag who doesn't want to appear to be a self-promoting douchebag, I will be doing another video where I close the parentheses on this issue. I had asked G-Man for some proof that he makes his claim. The Supreme Court of the United States has ruled atheism as a religion. I've said, where did you hear that? Where did you hear that? He claims that he's reviewed the ruling, but he couldn't give us any details about it. The big reveal on May 26th. The big reveal on May 26th comes in the form of G-Man saying, okay, Veckel, are you ready to share that Supreme Court thingy?
Yeah.
And what they shared was a webpage, with news webpage thing, 2 paragraphs from WorldNet Daily. I shit you not.
Oh my God.
There was a write-up about a 2005 case before the 7th District Appeals Court. So it was a WorldNet Daily write-up about a different case before a different court, which did not, by the way, rule that atheism is a religion. So he's like, we proved it. So
it's like you got a onion.
Well, that's always funnier when you're actually fooled by it. But
and still, though, if actually the Supreme Court were to rule that atheism is a religion, it still doesn't make it an actual religion. It just makes it fall under the law of being protected like a religion.
Well, we can have that whole discussion around that. I was mostly, again, we're just sort of taking a pop at that whole thing about how they and me sort of mentioning. I'll do a full hangout on that topic about what the Supreme Court actually said. I mean, it's really funny too because remember those guys, both G-Man and Veckel, at that point were insisting that they had reviewed this ruling. In the WorldNet Daily write-up, there's a 1-sentence reference to the 1961 ruling by the United States Supreme Court, and in that 1 sentence, they actually refer to that ruling, and including mentioning the name of the plaintiff, which Veckel stumbled over in pronouncing and then mispronounced it because they're that familiar with. You know, and then G-Man was just like, there, did you see the proof? I showed you the proof. And you go, okay. Line Cocksucker of the Week. What have we got? I don't want to put G-Man's name on there for that because when he showed that as proof, it's because he actually thinks it's proof.
All right.
So what else you got? Who you guys got?
Well, there's always Neffy and Professor.
Yes.
Yeah,
Dan Lorhammer.
Professor Dane.
Dan Lorhammer.
Neffy and the prop.
Yeah,
Let me
call him
see on that one because I'm not aware of that one.
Okay, let me second the nomination with what I think will be the runner-up lie he's told. He's now lately been saying that he's appeared on the Magic Sandwich Show like 3 or 4 or 5 times. Not for the last 5 years. He's boycotting the Magic Sandwich Show. The Magic Sandwich Show, which by the way began broadcasting in July of 2011, that is about 4 years ago, he's been boycotting for 5 years. Apparently he did do one segment in 2011, so he had been on one before. Which is weird because last month Neffy had a clip where he's showing his viewers, oh, I was on the Magic Sandwich Show and I absolutely crushed them, and he shows them a clip from something he did on one of Sokka's channels, which he claims he was on the Magic Sandwich Show, and that was like a month ago.
Because DPR was in there.
DPR was in the room.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that he says he was on the Magic Sandwich. A month ago he puts up a video saying he was on the Magic Sandwich Show, that week. And then now he puts up, which of course he wasn't, and now he puts up a video where he gets into this discussion with Ozzy, the very famous and delicious "I'm nobody's bitch" comment. Yep. Which, by the way, I love Ozzy saying that because he didn't just start like going all ebonics everywhere. He was just said it in that very polite sort of Eastern, Central Canadian.
And just quick, not for the credit, not for the credit, but if anyone wants to see it, it was on my channel.
Yes, there's Xboxes.
Yeah,
very good hangout. Please post a link to that. Okay, so that was a pretty minor bit of. I mean, for Neff standards, that's child's play. That's sort of a lie. So what was the Neff thing with Prof?
Now I have to hand it to Neff one. He did allow Dan to speak. They did have a back and forth, but everything Dan brought up and said, Nephilim did not agree with, and then Nephilim was sort of polite, and then as you go, he starts putting in the, well, how is you as a so-called scientist say this, and this, or whatever. He started putting him down, slipping in some nice little comments,
Yeah, or just about something.
And he was started going full Neffy, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the professor was just as polite and patient as he could be. He was amazing.
Yeah.
Whatever the professor said, Neffy just started speaking about something that was nowhere near what the professor had just spoken about.
Right.
It's completely different.
Yeah. What I found really bad about this was that when the professor's connection dropped, and so he wasn't in the hangout, and Neffy took that opportunity to address a question to the professor when he wasn't in the hangout, and then when the connection dropped again, Neffy took the opportunity of the professor not being in the room to badmouth the professor.
Yeah, that's classic Neffy. You got to watch like his attention to the hangouts too. He's not a real people person. On the other side of that coin, the thing he does quite often is that he will say, like for example, if he's talking to you, Fiona, he'll be like, you know what, Fiona, I have something that you can't answer. And this is the thing, like when DNA is arranged in a certain way, and it needs to be transcribed and et cetera, and I know you can't answer that. And he'll take his headphones off and go into the kitchen and get another beer. And then he'll come back and put his headset on and start talking.
Yeah.
And what he'll start talking with is, see, and I knew you couldn't answer that, but he literally would not have had his headphones on while he was, getting his.
And another little trick he would do would be, Dan would ask him something, a legitimate question, and say, well, what about this, or this? And Nephew would go, oh, I would be happy to answer that question, but first, off he goes somewhere else.
No, he actually has one more trick. If he's actually speaking to someone that knows the technical aspects of the topic, he'll actually say, all I heard is a bunch of jargon. But anyway, and then just completely dismiss everything and won't specify anything. He just
Neffy's catchphrase, which he always says, well, you see, that's what the atheists do.
Yeah.
He
tells people what their strategy is, which will tie in our last segment about Mr. Slick. Okay, so do we have a second nomination for Line Cocksucker of the Week?
Matt Bell.
Actually, one of the lines I crossed off my intro was all the crazy things happened. I was going to say, and Matt Bell did nothing interesting this week, but I'm wrong.
There were entire hangouts for him. In one hangout, he mentioned about how terrible it was for some evangelicals to bandy the word like paedophile around. Not more than 2 days after he had called someone a paedophile in Eve's hangout.
Yeah, really.
And then off air, when it went off air, he also detailed what sexual positions and sexual activities he'd done with Gus's sister and his mother.
Yeah.
Good grief.
He took Arcane and tore him down yesterday or day before. Grabbed him again and tore him down for like 2 hours.
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't either.
I do if it's dishonest. I don't want to see people tear Arcane down for dishonest reasons. But like in that hangout that Stizer had, where I got these guys calling me up in the middle of the day because Arcane was upset about something I said, so people are calling me to be like, oh, you got to come talk to Arcane about whatever. Matt Bell tore him down there, but he tore him down because Arcane was being Uncharitable is probably the best word we could use for it. But yeah, he needed to be dressed down there. He was just totally clued out. Just doesn't know how to have a conversation. But no, I would object if somebody was tearing down Arcane for reasons that aren't legitimate. I'm not a fan of that. So
Absolutely.
you're saying Matt crossed the line, or what do you say?
No, Matt didn't cross the line. I was just mentioning it because it was funny. He did the exact same thing again yesterday by tearing him down. Something honestly that Arcane was being dishonest about.
But he did in Eve's hangout. He actually said I think it was live when he said to somebody, he actually just labelled them a paedophile for the sake of just being a dick.
It says, I'm going to quote, that person on the end looks like he could be a paedophile.
That's right. It was a cider drinker, wasn't it? Yeah.
Cider drinker.
You look like a paedophile, and I said to Matt Bell, "What does a paedophile look like, Matt?" And he said, "Look in the mirror."
Ooh.
Yes.
Wow.
If Helena's still watching, I'm going to go ahead and drop out, and she can come on in.
Oh, there's a spot. Yeah, and I messaged her. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and drop out too.
So I was about to message her, but if you've already messaged her,
okay. And while we're waiting on that, let's defer the vote for. I'm not going to iron fist it. I'm not going to iron fist it through the way like JD just picks a guy because I haven't seen either of these incidents. I will say ahead of time, my vote will be for Neff, not because I've seen other incidents, because I just know that's Neff.
Yeah.
Dr. Larhammer.
Well, I haven't seen Matt Bell lie. He's been a dick, sure, but that's why I think the other one fits better than Neff.
This conversation with Dr. Larhammer. Now, there's only one that I know. He's and I don't know him at all. Like I haven't read any of his stuff or met him. The only reason I know of him is because he's an associate of Per Ahlberg at Uppsala, and I've had a couple. I don't know him that well, but I had a couple conversations with him related to some stuff that happened between Per Ahlberg and Neff years ago on a web forum. And that's hilarious. Like the reading that discussion between Neff and Per Ahlberg is absolutely infuriating, angering, funny. It's just so incredibly goofy. Dr. Ahlberg has few things to say about Neff that are at all praising. So is it the same Larhammer that works at Uppsala? Because you think that Ahlberg would have just been like, no, the guy's insane.
Is it
the same guy?
I think the guy who it was. He's Swedish.
Yeah.
And
okay, well, the name fed to me through the notes on the side here is Larhammer, N-E-R. Dan Larhammer is just got both A's, A at the beginning, A at the end. If that's the same guy.
Uppsala University, Sweden. Yeah. This is the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a colleague. He's co-authored stuff with Ahlberg. And,
yeah, that's him. Yeah. That's definitely him. Yeah, I think. I mean, I quickly want to say about this was I think one of the things that really played in his favour was, he wasn't North American and he wasn't British, so he couldn't have Neffy go, well, you're just being, a condescending Brit, or Neffy couldn't do the typical thing that he does with North Americans. So he had this very polite, very well spoken, but very European guy speaking to him. And I think that really wrong-footed Neff a little bit, stopped him from getting too Neffy with him, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
That's just my
I might have a surprising nomination for the award this week. And actually, although it's the award for this week, it goes back some way, but oh God, I'm trying to think of the words, but the consequences have only really come to light this week. And for this, I would nominate Gman. And the reason being that this week he said to Matt Dillahunty that he thinks that the penalty for adultery should be death. Thinking that, let's hear him justify again his false accusations.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that puts his lie into a whole new light. And it's not just me. He did it again within the last week in Eve's hangout to somebody else.
That is saying, did what? Saying that somebody else is having an affair when...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know, like, does he actually think that the death penalty would be appropriate? Because as soon as you start mentioning things like stoning people for picking up sticks on the Sabbath or disobedient children, they immediately hold up their hands and go, whoa, 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 old covenant, new covenant, old covenant, right? They want to draw that distinction. And by the way, morality is not situation dependent or relative. I still can't figure that out.
Go back to what I said earlier on. I don't know if you were, while you were away. is I don't believe that they believe this stuff anyway. I think they just say that they do.
Yeah, well, I can only go by what he says. I mean, he was asked if he thought that was appropriate, and he said yes.
Yeah, I think some of these guys just aren't deep thinkers. They probably believe it, but they wouldn't if they actually thought deeply about it.
Oh, yeah, and this is the whole problem with this award, right? Is it's about the lying cocksucker, and if we just said the dumb bastard of the week, well, then now we'd have a real toss-up. It needs to be two.
For sure.
I've got the perfect nomination. Perfect nomination.
For which? Dumb bastard with
no
dumb
lying cocksucker of the week. This is perfect. This time I've not thought of it already. Jason Burns, whooping and wailing and claiming that Aaron Ra has admitted defeat.
And yet doesn't even refer to what it was. He doesn't say, like, Aaron Ra was on NPR radio on Sunday and he admitted that he was scared or admitted defeat. He just says, yeah, well, now he's admitted it. Really?
Helena, yay!
I'm still welcome, Helena.
Was that when he ran away with his leg between his tails?
Yeah, it's the same.
If someone has the link to it, would you put it either below or on the side chat here? Because I saw someone post a picture of it, and when I click on it, it took me to a picture of the video and not the video itself.
Go to the archive.
Yes.
Okay.
So, real quick, can you correct us on the pronunciation? Helena.
Yeah, Helena. That's what I say.
She's not here.
Yeah, she's correct. Yeah, I've heard her correct before and saying Helena.
Helena, because then it's Helena Handbasket. That's the only way that makes sense to anybody. Helena.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the whole Donna Banana confusion again here. If you don't stop
picking on me.
Hey, if she doesn't open her mic in 4 seconds, we're going straight to the voting. I'm saying vote Neff because Neff is the most.
That's how Helena is spelled.
Helena.
Yeah, that's not Helena.
I do normally say Helena, actually. I don't know why I said Helena. I was just like, oh, yay!
Okay.
Like, shut up and leave me alone. Stop picking on me.
Okay, well, Helena is Handbasket, not opening her mic. So we're going to voting.
Helena,
She said hi.
She's there. She just corrected. Yeah.
Did you hear that?
You corrected it.
Yeah.
Did you have something to add then? Because we're going to the voting thing. I know you had.
I'm late. I vote Neff.
Okay. Okay, I see one. What do you call it? Early balloting, advanced ballot in the side chat for Neff. I got Neff. Any objections? It's Neff. It's Neff. Lots of guys.
Neff.
Yeah.
He's always an easy one to pick for that because we don't ever, with him, we never sit here going, yeah, but I think he's dumb enough to believe it. Like with Neff, sometimes he's dumb enough to believe the stuff that he says, but most of the time it's pretty obvious that he just lies. And he knows he's lying. So yeah, Neff, congratulations, Nephilim Free. You are the lying cocksucker of the week.
I've actually...
Prudent, welcome. Yes. Actually what?
Oh, I just wanted to say, I've actually been... He's been very dodgy about it, but about a month ago, I challenged Nephilim Free to do a hangout on air on my channel because it's you see his tactics, the way that he runs it. You know, he can run with his papers all he wants. He can interpret them any way he wants to, and he has the controls. He can just cherry pick whatever part of the paper he wants to read, and then just make the assertion that it says what he wants it to say. So my idea is if I can get him into a hangout with me, and I'll say, okay, we'll read the whole thing verbatim, and we'll see, call it peer review, if you will, and we'll see if it really says what he's saying. He has yet to respond to me. I mean, he did respond, but he kept trying to make excuses for why he wouldn't do it. So I keep challenging him on it, and he's been very dodgy about it. So I might keep trying, but it might just be a waste of time.
If you turn up the heat enough, he will eventually make a video about how you have this elaborate scheme to corner him in some way because atheists always, etc., blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, his actions with you in the last 2 weeks, I think, are enough to give him his own separate Lying Cocksucker of the Week thing just for that.
Oh, no, it's even more. He actually did have a hangout where he claimed that I had challenged him to a debate, but I said no. I never even said the word debate in the video challenge I gave to him. I did no such thing. He just flat out lied about that.
Well, I think you and Sam and other guys, you should be pushing this journal club idea. I think that the brown bag or whatever you want to call it, these ideas, like, hey, you know, Ronnie, True Empiricism, you know, Neff, you're interested in this stuff, come on in. We will sit here and you can bring articles. We'll talk about your articles. We'll bring articles. We can talk about these articles. And the reason you should keep pushing for it is because they will never, ever, 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 never join.
Yep.
So.
I don't even. It's a win-win because if they do, you get to show how stupid they look, and if
I don't
they
even
don't, then you get to see how dishonest they are.
I don't even think Ronnie's smart enough to know how to find a peer-reviewed article.
Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started on Ronnie.
I have a couple of quick observations
He'll have to
about.
find his shoes.
I have a couple of quick observations about Matt Slick, but did Ronnie do something? I know Ronnie poked up his head at some point this week to say something atheist dumb. Something.
No, I missed that.
Didn't you comment
all
on it? HogTie, didn't you make a comment about Ronnie shouting from under the bed again?
Yeah,
Oh, we're echoing off someone.
Ronnie's shouting from under the bed that we're all scared of him.
Yeah,
that
sums it up for me. It really sums it up for me.
Yeah.
Got everything in a nutshell.
Yeah. Well, let me, because we're a little over time, and I know I'm waiting for someone to volunteer to do the after show hangout. Let's try to keep this one to, let's say, 70 minutes, just to honor JD's wishes. I did say, because I had a couple people ask about it, I'll say something real quick about the Matt Slick thing. So I was listening to.
Hang on, before you do Matt Slick, because I want you to really go to town on it. Do you want to let Eleanor say a piece?
Oh, please, yes. I'm sorry, you were. Yeah, give her. Helena, yes, please. I missed the side chat. Go ahead, Helena. She's
Can you
doing
hear
it
me?
again.
Hello, hello. No, I'm not.
There she is.
I'm on a big delay.
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Okay. Oh, okay, sure. I mean, if you guys don't care. So Nate was saying that he was seeing some correlation, and in the comments I asked him to really define what the correlation was he was seeing. And he defined it. He was seeing a correlation between, the echo is going to drive me nuts. I'm going to try to ignore it. He was seeing a correlation between, claims of moral superiority and actual, unethical or lewd or lousy or crummy behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a negative correlation. It was a negative correlation. It said the more people claim moral superiority, the less their character demonstrates morality when you watch them talk about other things. And I said, well, it seems like you're only seeing that in the atheists. I can think of lots and lots of Christians who claim moral superiority and really are just awful in hangouts when they aren't talking about particular religious issues. So then he was like, oh, you know what? It's actually about what Ozzy said, which is the people who care about the way they behave on the outside and especially express through speech, since that's all that we have on Hangouts, the people who care about that have better character. And I said, well, okay, so you're changing it just a little bit, but do you still think that it's only Christians? Or don't you see that as true throughout?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of when he hemmed and hawed again. I was surprised. But at the end of that little hangout, when I finally got on, and I pushed him and asked him about that, it seemed as though maybe he was still sticking to the idea that the Christians, are better, behave themselves better in Hangouts.
Yeah, he did. He flip-flopped on it.
Yeah, so that's basically it. He was trying to express a negative correlation between people who claim moral superiority and people's behaviors. And he was saying that people's behaviors in Hangouts give them sort of a head start when it comes to talking about moral things, or when we do talk about religion. But he still, nonetheless, only saw that negative correlation in atheists.
Mm-hmm. So like I said, he was comparing bad atheists to good Christians.
It's a solid experimental design he's got going there.
Yeah.
But he did seem to react well to it. I know he put up this video saying that he thought there was something epiphanic about your comments, which is always nice to hear, especially talking to a theist.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was. He changed sort of the thing from kind of not really whether you're Christian or atheist, but more whether you think that the way you behave in Hangouts should indeed be indicative of your character. But then when I said, okay, fine, that's okay. But now, are you still saying that there's a Christian-atheist distinction? I think he said yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I want to say a correlation study is not actually an experimental study.
Well, yeah, duh. We all know that.
I'm saying HogTie had said that he had an experimental design.
No, that's, well, you know, there are studies
HogTie was
that
being
show
sarcastic.
correlations. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that they're weak. It's just that they're generally considered weaker than the experimental studies.
Regardless, yeah. Regardless. Maybe I'll watch some of the stuff if Ozzy's encouraged me to watch his part. And by the way, I did get. I was going to screen share the message I got from Ozzy. He did announce that, in spite of what Xbox had implied that Ozzy was thinking about coming in, Ozzy in fact is not even going to try to get in because he says in his words he is scared. So,
he's afeared.
He's afeard. Yeah, we were. I was even going to screen share that, but we don't have time for that nonsense. Just to prove to you, that's what he actually said. I was going to say. Okay, so let's. I don't really want to talk about it. Let's let the Matt Slick thing slide for a week here. I'll tell you what ended up happening was.
No, come on, give him a new arsehole.
No, I'd love to hear the Matt Slick stuff.
Because it's not over. I'm going to tell you it's not over.
Right.
I have talked to Matt Slick, which is really funny because, see, one thing that's weird, I'm going to say this weird comment here, but the very idea of internet celebrity, right? I mean, first off, if you're an internet celebrity, you are not a celebrity anywhere else. Nobody ever recognizes you. Even when you think that you're a touch or a hint of an internet celebrity, you never actually know who knows you or something, right? And I'm no Thunderfoot, right? Like even people hear my name, they don't really know who I am. So the thing is, Matt Slick, I've talked to him a couple of times already, right? And he claims to watch some of these shows like Atheist Experience and Magic Sandwich Show and whatnot. So the first time I talked to him, he said he knew who I was. Well, it was only because he knows Aaron, and he was at that time trying to get in with Aaron, right? Well, now that he's talked to Aaron, now that he's talked to Matt, I was talking to him the other day. He totally forgot who I was, which was kind of awesome because then he thinks that I'm just some smart ass is going to come in and talk to him. And it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that. I'd been talking to Bible Thumping Wingnut on Skype, and he was doing his show on Sunday, and there was a question that had come up and I wanted to ask this question. So I sent it to Tim. I said, hey, is your plate full tonight? I could pop in and ask this question. Here's my question. I even gave him the question. I didn't say, I'm going to come in and ask a question to make it sneaky. I said, here's the question I want to ask. I went in. Matt Slick had to leave the room to help his wife move furniture, or who the fuck cares what it was. And I ended up talking to this other guy who was there, this Andrew guy, who I didn't know who he was. He apparently is somebody of note within their circles.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, And then, but it was weird too, was there was this guy sitting there, this John guy. You'll recognize him because he's sort of heavy set and there's something wrong with the one eye. He's got a darkened lens on one side.
Do you mean the cut price Rand Campbell?
Gosh.
He's like not hooked up right. I talked to him once months ago, and he was in and out of the room. I ended up more so talking to Jason Peterson, I think it was. And this guy, he partway through the conversation, like when Matt Slick does come back, this John guy comes back, and he's like, "Well, wait a second, I thought you were a Christian." And this Andrew guy saying, "No, he's quite clearly an atheist. It's not at all confusing to anybody." He's like, "But he said he was a Christian." And then later, after I'm asked to leave, he starts going on about how, you see how this guy came in and pretended to be a Christian, and then he says, I've talked to this guy. I've been talking to this guy for months. He'll come and he'll talk to me, then he'll leave. Then he'll come back, then he'll leave. Then he'll come back, and then he'll leave. He pretends to be a Christian, but then he's not a Christian. And I was like, who the fuck are you talking about? Like 5 minutes ago, you thought I was a Christian.
The first thing you said was that you weren't.
Yeah, there's something you've missed out, is the fact that when you said, I'm a counter-apologist, and then that guy said, a Christian apologist? Well, what's he doing coming in here, blah, 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 something like that. And then Matt Slick got the wrong end of the stick about a Christian apologist.
Yeah.
And so then when it turned out that you were a counter-apologist, that's when Matt Slick got massively butthurt.
He exploded. There was a moment I'm sitting there, because again, I know the tone of these conversations. You go in, sometimes you're like, hey, we're gentlemen, I know there's sort of the ponage atmosphere on YouTube and whatnot, but we're just here, sometimes you're just here to chat. Not everything has to be a fight. And some of these guys are incapable of it, right? I mean, I know there's some people upset with me right now because they're incapable of recognizing, we're all people.
Yeah.
And I know. I mean, I'm sure that Bible thumping Wingnut and I'm sure we could get into a good argument if we put our minds to it. We're just not interested in fighting like that. Yeah. And Matt Slick, I know he's got it. I know he can bring an argument. But I also thought that he was a grown-up and he could have a normal conversation. And I have to admit I was wrong about that.
Yeah, I've never seen him have a grown-up conversation after.
Really? Is that bad? Huh?
Yeah.
It was
well,
weird.
It's because you were absent.
Yeah,
he was absent. I mean, it's because he was absent. You came in, you presented yourself very well. You had a nice conversation going. Then he came back.
Yeah, he was out of the room and he came back. And by the way, one thing I do wish I'd have done differently was when I said, I didn't say I was a counter-apologist. I said, amongst some of the things I do counter-apologetics.
Yeah.
And they were asked about it, well, what does that mean? And I was saying, oh, well, we do, because there's apologists and whatnot, we sort of address those things. And then one of the guys had said, oh, so you're saying that you fight against Christianity or you fight against Christian apologetics? And I go, well, no, I mean, yes, but and others. And meanwhile, Veckel's in the side chat doing his typical, why don't you just say you're an atheist? He's all freaking whiny about everything, And I have no problems. That's the thing. He's now got this thing now about how atheists will never admit they're atheists. I will admit the drop of a hat that I'm an atheist. I will always get in the thing about, because the reason why you don't, especially with Matt Slick, why you don't go in and say, well, I'm an atheist, is because then he starts arguing against a position that you don't hold. And I'm not interested in having that discussion. But whatever, he can do that, and I'll just tell him, okay, fine, I don't hold that position. But anyway,
and
so I said...
everybody holds the same definitions and all that. That's the whole reason you don't just go throw out a term like that.
Yeah, the same as Veckel, and that is Veckel's fond of saying there's no such thing as atheists, they don't exist.
Yeah, well then, fuck. I don't like talking to guys like that.
What was interesting to me is that you said twice, you corrected them, saying, no, it's not just Christians I do my counter-apologetics against. And they all just ignored that.
Yeah, and I also said, I don't chase down Christians. Like I said, if you believe in Christ, Christ is your Lord and Savior, I have no problem with that. I don't go and chase down Christians and tell them they're dumb for believing in Christ. I have no interest in that stuff. I go after a very, very particular type of apologetic about people who engage in this very destructive type of apologetic. So I both announced twice, I don't chase down Christians, I'm not opposed to Christianity, and I mentioned twice that there are other dangerous types of apologetics out there that I tackle other than Christianity or related to Christianity in any way. Yeah. And yet, right on the heels of saying that, Matt Slick would go, but you listen to this guy, he's here, he's anti-Christian, he's here to take apart Christianity. It's like, what the fuck show are you watching? That's not at all what I said. But yeah,
everyone I've seen is like that. He gets dishonest, and what I would call intellectually dishonest.
There was that one where he says, he's coming in asking about pastoral stuff when he's just wanting to destroy the Christian faith. He goes, why would we help him?
Right.
Remember?
I'm out. You guys have a good night. Thank you so much for a good conversation.
Okay.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. Good night.
This guy, we're gonna get more mic time next time he's around. I mean, this show you have a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, but we gotta wrap up here pretty quick. I do want to say, so I may go back and talk to him again, but I'm a little more aware that he's that type of Christian who sees no fellowship with human beings. Yeah. He sees the world as being, there's me and there's my best friend Jesus, and fuck everybody else.
Yeah, that's why I've never gone after that or left comments to to get into a debate or have him on a show or anything.
Yeah. I would make a slight thing addendum to that. It's him, his fellow hardcore Calvinists. Everybody else can fuck themselves.
No, I wouldn't even include
them. They can fuck themselves
because it's always me and Jesus, and then I'll bring on some other people who kind of claim to be Jesus lovers too. But the instant you sniff out something wrong in their theology, they're gone.
Yep.
That's the type of Christian he is. I didn't know that about him. But see, the other thing, and so I mean, we did talk about. See, what's weird is that we'd been setting something up for weeks, right? And then now, so we actually had a chance to talk, and I made it very clear at the beginning. No, I'm not here to have that discussion. We can do that another time. He forgets that we've been talking about having that discussion, but instead just launches into it anyway. While I'm saying my kids are here, I'm off to go do this thing with my kids. But yeah, fine, I can answer one question. And he'd ask me a question about, well, how do you explain whatever? And I'd say, okay, well, I can't, or here's my answer. And he'd go, well, you're wrong. You're just wrong. Okay. And I just go, okay, so that's fine. And of course, as soon as you start pointing out, I say, okay, look, you're being childish. Then he starts talking. You see how angry he got. He's just vicious. And I want your guidance on this. I want to know if somebody's telling me how to handle this someday. When somebody is somebody's a total cunt nugget, when he's talking to you, and then you start to point out that he's being a cunt nugget, Like, how do you handle that without giving them the opportunity to say, "Oh, you're sure getting upset now. Look at you complaining." Like, they give themselves permission to be as rude as they want, but for you to even point out they're being rude is.
I stay calm and push buttons.
Yeah, a common technique is to basically just immediately stop talking, and then say, "I'm sorry. Do you want me to continue?"
Slightly off topic, I just want to point out one of the best comments I've seen in the comments section of this hangout by an account named Lamont.
Lamont, oh right.
And it just says, "Y'all a bunch of crazy honkies." Brilliant.
I was chatting to Matthew Bell today, and he was exactly the same way.
Yeah.
You know, just objectionable for no reason other than being objectionable. And then when I used the C word on him, which is a word I do not use, I called him a C. I don't like to use that word. And he said, "Oh, that's you being an atheist." I said, "No, that's describing the person."
Well,
I've never seen this other side of him that people discuss.
Oh, go and watch Eve's hangout called Problems and Solutions.
Yeah.
Well, what's
Hopefully
that,
most
Melanie?
of it's there.
You've never seen his bad side or his good side?
Never seen never seen his bad side.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my dear me.
That's all I've ever seen of him.
Before you came in there earlier, D, with Cliff and I, everything was halfway decent up until that last hour when I dropped out.
Up until I arrived.
All right. Well, quick observations at the end because we're going to go to our closing theme music and call her a day. What else you guys got? Real quick.
I'll go
Jump
first.
in.
I want us to be gentle on Nate because he's doing his best and he is recanting to the best of his ability. I'm done.
Then I respect that. That's great. Anyone else?
Could I just say one thing?
Second.
Please, Fiona, please.
Eleanor, have you realised the stushy that you've stirred up with your very honest question that I answered for you?
I'm so sorry. I just feel so terrible about that. It's just, oh my god.
It's just taken off again.
It has?
And I'm just, oh yes, I'm a dumbass cunt bitch apparently.
According to who?
A lying ass cunt. And all the rest of it.
Who's saying this?
It's still going on.
I just wanted to say, if Nate is watching this right now, he's probably just fainted.
Swooned and fainted. Wow. So Ozzy was saying that about you? Is that where that came from?
Because Dougie's an asshole, that's
Sorry?
why.
You said Ozzy told you were lying cunt?
No.
He's not putting up with it anymore. That guy ain't nobody's bitch. So whatever you did.
Well, apart from I think he might be Alana's.
Is this Dougie?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh, Dougie. I misheard.
I thought you were talking about Iron Cross.
No. Oh, Iron Cross. Don't even speak to me about Iron Cross. He is just an idiot. But no, Douglas is absolutely. He's lost the plot altogether.
Well, he gets emotional. Again, I want to be more. I want to be more, generous with him, right?
I've tried. I've unblocked him 3 times, giving him a second chance and a third chance. And there does come a time where you have to say. I mean, this is a comment which finishes. He tells me to fuck off his thread. It's a thread on my channel under my video, and says, yes, and he says, "Deal with it, bitch."
I haven't seen
and
that
then he
part.
finishes his post with, your statement doesn't make sense, you dumb cunt, now fuck off, you immoral cunt.
Wow.
And it's because he doesn't understand what I'm saying. Yeah, he doesn't understand. I'm trying to draw a distinction.
And I think it's frustrating for him when people don't understand what he's trying to say.
No, he doesn't understand what I am trying to say to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am not. He's. It's unreal. So thank you for that, Helena.
I'm sorry.
Well, that I'm sure there's going to be a lot of harmful thing you'll be able to bundle together for next week's show, which I understand will be hosted by your regular gas bag, the enigmatic JD Kain. So can I ask you to mute your mics because I'm going to pipe the closing music through, please. This is on our way out. I'll play only a few seconds, hopefully so I don't copyright violate my own vid. But it'll be the closing music in honor. Well, I'll say in a moment. So congratulations to Nephilim Free for being the Line Cocksucker of the Week. And what else? What else does he say in closing? Oh, I don't know why you're watching this. You got better things to do. Go fuck yourself, etc., etc. Thanks to the panel. A lot of fun, a lot of energy. A little bit of a difficult show for me because I like to sit back and blah, blah, blah thing. I see why JD likes doing this because it's a lot of fun. So again, thanks to you all. Thanks to the viewers. Please go find something better to do. Go fuck yourself. JD, especially you, go fuck yourself because it's kind of hard work. On the way out, we'll play our closing theme music in honor of our new friend, Lamont.